Welcome. Welcome to First Thursdays. Thank you all so much for being here. Yeah, you're at First Thursdays with the same old Tulsa. It was so great to see some new faces, old friends that we haven't seen in a while. Nathan Pickard can bring in a crowd, let's just say that. Again, I'm Corey Williams, the Executive Director of Sustainable Tulsa. Really glad to have you all here and such an important topic. Going to do a few quick updates and then we'll get started. So wanted to thank, of course, TCC for hosting us, and we just love the partnership. So thank you, TCC, for that. Want to also say thank you to PSOs, our lead sponsor for First Thursdays, and our other sponsors are Covanta, TCC Creativity Center, Mike McCann, and McCann Law, and our new sponsor is PSO Wind Choice. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank them. I also want to let you know that our First Thursdays now are streamed live, as well as you can find the YouTube videos. You can go through our website, and TCC has been gracious to do that for us. So anyway, if for some reason you can't make it, and I mean, the best part of this is seeing each other, but if for some reason you can't make it, there's also the opportunity to watch them online. So wanted to make sure you knew that. I want to thank our volunteers today, Anna and Nathan and a couple others, and want to say thank you to my board members that are here today, Mike Lemus, Tracy Poe, and Carrie Rowland. Let's give them all a round of applause. Rob from Chimera helps us with our lunches. So if you want lunch here and ready for you each time, just make sure you pre-order and we'll have it ready for you. Also, he's generous to just leave a couple things of coffee back there for you. So that's here as well for you. Today, I just want to remind you, we have composting and recycling for each of our events. And if there's anything unclear about it, we want to hear from you so we can keep improving that. So as guests come, we're educating and improving in that opportunity. So if there's any questions about that, please let us know. And we appreciate Full Sun Composting handling the composting for us, as well as TCC for handling the recycling here at their site. Make a point to visit the booths afterwards. They're going to get a chance to introduce themselves at the end, but we appreciate them making the time to be here and make a point to visit them on your way out for sure, if you haven't already. And our next First Thursday will be 1 Million Cups. They're going to come and talk about green entrepreneurialism. And who's heard of 1 Million Cups? Okay, a few of you. It's a great program here that really collaborates with entrepreneurs in the area, and so they're going to come and visit, but we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have a bunch of businesses and also different programs like Full Sun Composting or any kind of business or entity that could help a business become a little greener, and our scorecard coaches will be here, and it'll be a little bit set up like a speed dating opportunity where you get to meet and interact really quickly. So that's what's going to happen, and we're working with TCC's Lindsay. Are you here, Lindsay? Maybe wave if you're still here. Okay, there she is. Lindsay, stand up for a second. Lindsay will help us coordinate. So if you're interested in being a part of that somehow, please come see Lindsay as well. So we got that going on. That's March 1st. That'll be right here in this room. And then we have our next B2B Case for Sustainability series, and that's going to be on stakeholder engagement, and that should be really great. We've got a couple of our speakers actually here in the room. Jeff Couch will be speaking with us, and also Carol Hicks, and we'll also hear from Muskogee Creek Nation. So it'll be a really great one, so don't miss it. That would be February 15th, and it'll be at River Spirit Casino. We've started a new process and with these listening sessions, so there's little flyers on the tables. So if you're interested in engaging with people that you haven't met before or around this topic, it's a chance to kind of start that conversation. So those are on the tables for you, and it's a way to kind of deepen your opportunity here in the conversation. So I'm going to start a new tradition. We used to, when we had 40 at the most people together, we passed the mic and you introduced yourself and you said what you're doing and how to get engaged. Well, now it wouldn't be practical, which is wonderful, but we're going to start a new tradition, and it's a 2-minute tradition, and that is, I want you to stand up I want you to introduce yourself to someone you've never met, and welcome. If you're a regular, welcome somebody new. If you're not a regular, find someone to meet. Or that person you thought, I really want to meet them, but they're always gone when I'm ready to talk. Go find them, say hello. It'll be hard to disengage you, but we're going to do it for 2 minutes. Ready? Go introduce yourself. Okay. We're gonna get back at it. Hi. How are you? See you. Thank you for being so welcoming and engaging. I love it. So you can still stream and watch these videos, but you miss out on that part. So that's why it's fun to be here. But before we get started, I want to introduce Carol Hicks. Carol is with PSO, External Affairs Manager, and she's going to share briefly about an opportunity to increase energy from wind in Oklahoma. And the reason we invited her to come and say a few words is because it's timely. So thank you, Carol, for being here and to say a couple words. Let's welcome Carol.
Corey, thank you so much. And as always, we are so pleased to also be one of the sponsors for these sessions. It's so important to our company, and you can imagine that as an electric provider in the state of Oklahoma, that sustainability is extremely important, not only on the environmental sustainability side, but from a community building sustainability side. And that is something that I work with every single day. I cover the Tulsa and Tulsa metro area for the company, building public-private partnerships and helping the company give back to the community. So thank you for having me. Today, I just wanted to say a few words about a very important project to our company that many of you may have already heard about. It's about the Windcatcher Wind Farm project that PSO is working on extremely diligently with our parent company, American Electric Power. And the wind farm project that I'm referring to is being built close to Guyman, Oklahoma in the Panhandle. And it will, and I have to kind of use my cheat sheet here, but it will feature 2,000 megawatts of energy, and it has 800 turbines, and it will have a generation tie line of 765 kV volts, which is the highest in Oklahoma, to carry the wind power from that wind farm out in the Panhandle to a specialized substation close to Tulsa, north of Tulsa. And this wind power will serve not only PSO customers, but our sister company, SWEPCO, that's headquartered out of Shreveport, Louisiana. And over the life of the project, it will have a savings of $2 billion for our customers and be able to raise our wind profile for PSO to 40% wind, with the majority of the rest of that profile being natural gas. So now we would be powered by Oklahoma wind and Oklahoma natural gas. And we're very proud of the potential for this project. It is before 4 regulatory bodies in 4 different states, because our sister company serves in parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. And of course, PSO serves in Oklahoma. So right now, it is before these regulatory bodies, and they are reviewing our project and the savings that it will bring our customers, the value that it will bring for the state of Oklahoma from an economic development standpoint, but also, of course, ad valorem taxes, construction jobs during the life of the project as it's all being built, as well as permanent jobs on the other end of it. And those ad valorem taxes in all the different routes that we go through in the variety of different counties will go directly to, you can imagine, the county as well as our public school districts. And we all know that that could be helpful to our public school districts. So we're very excited about the project. We have more information about it over at our booth, so please feel free to come by and ask any questions you like. And we have handouts that you can take with you. And we do appreciate your support for that project. And thank you, Corey, for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Okay. Nathan, we want to hear from you. So Nathan is the founder of the Restoration Collective. You can find that at restorationcollectivetulsa.org. In 2006, he moved to Brady District in an urban at-risk neighborhood and began seeing the lack of food security. Initiatives he's helped organize within the neighborhood include a community garden, a 7-layer urban farm, and a 2/3 acre site where he lives, and a half-mile-long public food forest, a community food tree nursery growing over 500 trees. He helped found the Emerson Foundation, which added a food forest at Oklahoma's first public Montessori school to open up this fall. He's been a speaker at urban farming and regenerative agriculture programs like Oklahoma Public Health Association Annual Conference, the Oklahoma Food Security Summit, Oklahoma Women in Agriculture and Business Annual Conference, Fit to Learn Annual Conference, and the Oklahoma-Arkansas Horticultural Industry Show. He also speaks on retirement and personal finance issues. Very diverse. So let's welcome Nathan. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming, everybody. I'll use this one, maybe.
Let me get this ready. Wait.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So I was just at the Color of Law presentation at TU. Did anyone go to that? Excellent presentation. The speaker, he had a PowerPoint up there, and he never used it. And so I thought, man, that's really cool, and I'm going to try that this time. So the black screen is where we're going to stay on for a while, and then I'll show you some pictures of our projects. So don't have a lot of time. I was working on this and found out yesterday that I had 150 slides and probably 4 hours of material. I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store when it comes to sustainability and speaking on it. I'm like, oh, what do I actually speak on? But Corey wanted me to speak on urban farming because there's a sustainability conference, TCC Sustainability Conference coming up, and it will focus on urban farming. What's February 22nd? So right here. So that's what I'm going to do. Focus on urban farming. And when I think of urban farming, I think there's some really good reasons for it. And it all kind of fits in line with the people, profit, planet side that Sustainable Tulsa really pushes for. And so let's get into it on the profit side real quick. So urban farming, well, first let's just talk about trade deficits, okay? We got Germany, who has the largest trade surplus, and they're also in the top 5 wealthiest people per capita, and one of the highest savings rates. This trade surplus makes wealthy countries. But you can take it down a level to the community level. And one level, so I live north of downtown, and in my square mile, we have what was the Black Wall Street. And they just had, before desegregation, they had an incredible amount of wealth that was building. And one of the reasons why is their dollar circulated 36 to 100 times before it left the community. And so that is just this amazing trade surplus that they were building. And now, when you look at that same area, it's a totally different story, and it's sad. It's actually 50 cents of every dollar is spent in the community. So it's not even one time around. It's 50 cents of the dollar that goes around. And so when we start thinking about the areas of what it's called economic leakage, and so when we start thinking about the areas that comprise this economic leakage, food is a huge area, especially for North Tulsa, with the lack of grocery stores. It's considered a food desert due to low income and low access to healthy food. And so when we think about urban farming, how much money is there available in this city for farmers to supply? And so I was curious. I did the calculations. I'm a data analyst, so hopefully I did them right. But they had, so the average American spends $7,000 on food. Some of that's eating out, some of that's eating in, so buying from the grocery store. The food supplied to those restaurants and to the grocery stores is about half of that cost. And so when you multiply that cost out over our population, it's actually $500 million that we are losing every year as the city of Tulsa. That money is just going straight out of our economy every year. $500 million. I was just kind of shocked by that. And so I think urban farming is a cool answer where it's like, could we actually provide a chunk of that and actually keep that money in our community? And so I can't spend a lot of time on that. I wrote an article for Strong Towns that kind of goes into it. If you want to look that up, it's called, I think you can Google Leakage, Strong Towns. And so now I want to kind of talk about the ecological perspective there. So we as Americans have a rather large footprint. The Global Footprint Network puts us at 21 acres per person, and our biocapacity as a nation is 9 acres. So it takes over 2 Americas to provide for our consumption levels, and which may be why we have some wars. No, I'm just kidding. So if all of the world was consuming at the level we are, let's see, it would take no, that's not it. I might have lost that one. It would take a lot of Earths. I'll just tell you that. And if for all of us to have the same, for all of us to really have 4.7 acres of ecological impact is what would be needed to really not need another Earth, basically. And the food that Americans consume is 5.5 acres. So just the food alone is more than the impact that's required for us to basically be just to our neighbors all around the world. And I know that's a lot of numbers, I'm sorry. But so let's just look at Tulsa real quick. And we have, in Tulsa, we need about 3,400 square miles to take care of our food footprint. That's a lot of miles. If you go into an urban farming, just a high density growing, using like the biointensive method by John Jeavons, which I really like, you would need about half of Tulsa to provide all the food for all of Tulsa. And so the current food system is just not the best, and there's just a lot of room for urban farming to come in and really provide the food that we need and solve a lot of issues on the planet side. And then you have the people side. So urban farming, from a justice perspective, really the low income and low access to healthy food is directly correlated to health outcomes. So when you have that low income, low access to healthy food, you have a lot of health issues that go up. And that's been documented quite a bit. And then we have a generation or multiple generations that haven't had that access. Even if we brought that access back through grocery stores, the level of utilization would not be there because it's been lost through the generations. So urban farming has a lot of cool things where when people are growing food and seeing food grown, they're also eating it. And then they start finding out it actually tastes good. And it's pretty neat. So putting urban farming into the schools and into the community gardens and those kind of things is an exciting way to get people to utilize the healthy food that they need for their health. On the, let's see. Oh, I was just gonna say on the health side, in June of last year, I did a little challenge where I wanted to see if I could eat only from my backyard for the whole month. And it's documented in the Edible Tulsa. We've got some of those in the back. But it was very interesting. So just to give you a quick little day's journal, it says, in the morning I went out and harvested my food for the day. I grabbed lamb's quarters, eggs, rosemary, kale, cabbage, fennel, thyme, smartweed, oregano, cilantro, radish seed pods, onions, and garlic. And so that was kind of my meals for the day. And then it tells how I made them. And it was really interesting after doing that for a month. And then I just kind of continued it on into July and August. I went to Chicago for a business trip, and I was eating, they have great restaurants, a bunch of Michelin star restaurants. I was eating the food, and I was just like, why do I feel so, I wasn't getting nutrients. And produce, they say, loses 30% of its nutrients and vitamins within 3 days of harvest. And in Chicago, I don't know if anything was coming in within 3 days of harvest that I was eating. And so after eating for those couple months and just getting used to that level of nutrients from picking in my backyard and eating it immediately, I was just shocked at the difference there. So that was very interesting to me. That's another reason from a health perspective. And then a food safety perspective is kind of the scary one. We've started importing so much food from foreign countries that Obama had to figure out a way to actually inspect all these foreign countries, all the food that's coming from them. And so, let's see here. It's actually up big time to where they do 2,500 inspections of foreign food facilities per year. But the problem is there's 212,000 foreign food facilities that are registered with the FDA. So even with this great new number of 2,500, it's still 90-something years before every single food place would be inspected. And just kind of thinking about that here locally, we've got a great health department that's great with inspections. And just thinking about if you went to a restaurant and you're like, well, you know, in 90 years, this restaurant will get inspected. So, you know, it should be fine. We'll be fine. That's what we're doing when we eat food that's coming from these foreign locations. So another reason to know where your food comes, to know where your farmer is, what he's doing, or be your own farmer. So let's see, how am I doing on time? I'm a little worried. Okay. Thank you. What a good food system looks like. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. A good food system was actually proposed in the 1830s by Johann Heinrich von Thunen. And he said the perfect food system would look like urban farming and dairy in the area just right inside the city. And that's because they didn't have automobiles and oil and all of these things to refrigeration. So they actually had to eat the food when they harvested it, which tends to be the healthy way. And then he said outside of that boundary, you would do agroforestry. And so we're doing that in our projects, and I'll tell you more about that. And then outside of that, you would do grain farming. So these are kind of concentric circles, getting farther and farther out from the core of the city. And then outside of the grain farming, you would do animal ranching. And then outside of that is wild nature, which we need a lot more of. So that's kind of a good system. But even if we put in that system, we would still be stuck with our habits. So the Permaculture City is a book written by Toby Hemingway. And he says we need to eat from the food shed in zones. So first, we need to eat from our own garden. Second, we need to eat from our neighbor's garden. Third, from the farmer's market. Fourth, the regional grocery store. And fifth, and finally, the supermarket. If you can't get everything, and he says, focus as much of a percentage in on those early zones as you can. And so how much percentage of your food can you get from your garden? I think, just a show of hand, how many people have a garden? Hey, that is not representative of Tulsa. That's great. Yeah, so I think one issue a lot of the time is people think about their time and the value of their time, and they think about how much money they make at their job, and they're thinking, this isn't worth my time to grow vegetables. And it's interesting, in the finance courses we teach, which are pretty much based on Your Money or Your Life, if anyone's read that book, but they do a real hourly wage, and it's pretty cool. So it's looking at what you think you make, but then taking into account all of the expenses that are related just to work. And so a $25 an hour hourly wage, when you take out your clothes, transportation, meals, escape entertainment, vacation, job-related illness, escape food and beverages, and then you take your overtime, your commuting time, your meal time, your decompression time, it ended up, for this person, being $10 an hour from their $25 an hour job. And I just have one quick story about sweet potatoes, because I love sweet potatoes. They're so easy to grow. And so for $35, I planted my sweet potatoes, slips. And I didn't do a lot of work, maybe 6 hours of planting, maintenance, and harvest. And then in November, before the first frost, dug them up, had 180 pounds, which is a lot of sweet potatoes. Threw them on my dining room table, they cured, I ate them the rest of the winter. We still have sweet potatoes in our house, and we just made sweet potatoes for an event last night. 2 nights ago. But the hourly wage that I had for those sweet potatoes was $88 an hour. So, I mean, that's a pretty good hourly wage. And if I bought them from Sprouts, organic sweet potatoes, it would cost me $358. but I would have to earn $587 because you've got all those taxes in between. And so I would need to earn $587 to buy those sweet potatoes. So there is value, there is economic value in your time in a garden. That's all I'm saying about that. All right. So now to the PowerPoint, which hopefully I can go through fast. Okay, so we started the Restoration Collective, and it's kind of morphed over time, but really the goal is to create diverse and flourishing relationships between neighbors in their natural, social, and built environment north of downtown Tulsa. And so let's just look at where that is. This is downtown Tulsa. This is the area that we are focused on. And so we're zooming in there, and these are the projects that we've kind of been working on. So started about 11 years ago with the Brady Heights Community Garden. This is the property we've purchased over the years. Hopping House Farms, it was built by J.S. Hopping. And the Tisdale Food Forest, and the nursery, and Emerson Montessori School. And then this area that the Notre Dame Graduate Studio planned. So I'll talk about each of these just real quick. Brady Heights Community Garden, 11 years ago. We started it, it morphed, but we ended up with, let's see, I think I can use this. We ended up with these trees, and we ended up with blackberries and grapes around the perimeter. These are all fruit trees in front. And so that's been fun because those are all for the community to use, and we basically neglected all that. And I was surprised how well it did and how much it can produce. And then these are beds that families reserve each year and grow from. So that got me kind of interested in regenerative agriculture, which focuses more on the perennial side. Because in that garden, in August, you just don't see a lot of people managing those beds. They tend to get overgrown. But all of the perennial crops just keep on going. And so how can we do that on a larger scale? We bought this house, I think 8 years ago, and this is what it looked like in 2013. And then we implemented a full permaculture plan with the help of James Spicer with Green Country Permaculture. And now it looks like this. I think it's cool. Anyway. So it's a 7-layer food forest model, and the idea is really capturing all of the sun's energy and just creating this dense amount of food using even the vertical space. So starting with a canopy layer, like a nut tree, and then a fruit layer, fruit tree layer, and then a shrub layer, which is like, let's see, what do we have? Elderberries. We have service berries, which is a native type of blueberry kind of thing. And then going down to the herbaceous layer, which can be kind of your annuals and perennials, your vegetables. And then ground cover like strawberries. Rhizosphere is like sweet potatoes and different perennial crops that grow underground. And then your vertical layer is vines. Such as grapes. So that's what we implemented here. This was a parking lot for the old Tasty Freeze. And we cut out the asphalt parking lot and we put in this mound gardening that you can see right here. And we put in these little stick trees. Actually, most of these are from Grog's Green Barn. And Mr. Grog is in the audience. So here's what they looked like. This was 2015, and here's what they looked like in 2017. So it's pretty fun just to see the difference there. And so that's all food-bearing trees along with some nitrogen-fixing trees for passive nitrogen. And then this is my son who does not look happy. And this was the old parking lot right here, and our mounds there, and this is what it looked like 2 years later. And so just this wide variety of plants and native plants, perennial plants, as well as annual vegetables throughout the system. So from there, we thought, can we do this on a larger scale? And great book, Restoration Agriculture, says that you can do permanent agriculture and actually compete with an acre of corn. And that book got me so excited that I wanted to go buy 50 acres and do this. And then we were looking behind our property, and there's this noisy Tisdale Expressway behind us, and there's all this land. And so Up With Trees helped us plant a food forest on this hill in between our neighborhood and the road. And this was kind of our proposal. It's about a half-mile stretch. We've got these swale lines that catch the water and spread it. They're like ditches with berms on one side, and then we put the trees on the downhill side, and they can just really grab that water as it soaks in. And it's worked so well. We've watered our trees twice in the last 4 years, and that was just that first year because we planted them very late. And this is us putting in the swale system with a tractor. We were able to do it in 1 day. And on the steep hill, I had to dig it with a shovel because the tractor couldn't go on it. So my neighbor and I made a little exercise regimen for the early mornings and just kind of stretched it out. We use a laser transit to figure out what exactly is level so that when the water comes down in a storm, it will spread through this ditch all the way down and then soak in, and it works. So this is when we first planted our sticks, which are just bare root trees, very cheap, very quick to plant. And this was in 2015, and then this is what it looked like last summer. So it's looking good. And there's another picture. And this is some of the fruit that's already come from it, and we do a lot of native wildflower planting along the berms. Let's see, how much time do I have? Anyone?
You have 12 minutes.
Hey, cool, okay. So this is the Tree Nursery. This was just a lot that we purchased in the neighborhood, and we ended up with some extra trees that when we did the Tisdale Food Forest. And the extra trees I didn't know what to do with, so we just threw them out in this lot, just planted them in, and I totally forgot about them. And like probably a month or two later, I'm like, ooh, I should go check on those. They're probably all dead. And they weren't, and it was really weird. And so that just turned into this nursery. And now it has around 500 trees sitting in it, next to the neighbor, Chutney, right there. Sorry, Chutney. No, these are all the trees that are sitting in the lot. And they're doing great, and I water them very infrequently. It's amazing to see just how much they want to grow and provide food. But I did want to show you just a small-scale implementation of a permaculture project. So I worked with James Spicer on doing a permablitz, which is where you get a group of people together to do a permaculture project. We all learn about it, we all work together, and then we record everybody's hours, and then the next whoever has the most hours gets to have the next permablitz. That's the idea, so we can just keep it going. And let me just show you this quick video, if I can figure out how to do that. Okay. So this is just a 20, I think it's 20 by 40 square feet, or 20 by 40 area. And so you can do it at your house very easily. It's wonderful. But yeah, we do have a Tulsa Permaculture sign-up sheet back there, and that's how we get the word out. We also have a Tulsa Permaculture Facebook group where we get the word out as well. So it went from this to this in one afternoon. So it's pretty cool. Although the cover crop there took a little more than one afternoon, but. Okay, and then the Montessori School has just been an amazing process to work with TPS and them allowing the community to design the grounds and be the landscape architect has just been a great experience. And so they actually have 20 acres, which is a huge amount of land, and we got to help design it. And so first we started with the topo map to figure out where to put our swales in and how to design it. And then we started brainstorming about all of these things: outdoor education, stormwater, beauty, interacting with neighborhood, farming, food forest, culture, ecology, healthy eating, entrepreneurship, unstructured play, encouraging nature, and funding. And we have a community group of 30 people that were working on this together. And so it was a great project. And this is what we came up with. Carla Grog did this final design for us. And so what we have is a 1-acre working farm where we really want to demonstrate the profitability side of urban farming and have it just be this education piece. And so we have a full-time farmer that's going to start in March working on that. And then we did a native prairie surrounded by native forest. And we are implementing that right now. And the construction on the school is ongoing, probably through August. And then we have a food forest over here. And there'll be bike trails that will be planting trees. We're planning for about 500 trees, fruit and nut trees, on this 20 acres. And this is the native forest and how we designed it. So all these lines are swales that we dug. Just real quick, some pictures of the tractor digging the swales again. The tractor work is done by E.J. Oppenheimer. He has the Valley Foundation, and they do permaculture projects all over the world. So it's really cool to have him in Tulsa and have his help. And this is the tractor digging them out. And then we dug them out one afternoon, and then that evening it started raining. So it was kind of interesting. So I came out the next morning, and there's the water just sitting there, soaking on in. And I was taking pictures, and this big old flock of geese just landed right in front of me. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. Would they have come if there wasn't this water sitting here? And we're already bringing the nature into our native forest. So Up With Trees has been an awesome partner. They planted a lot of bur oaks for us and all kinds of other native species. That was 3 days before Christmas in the snow. They're hardcore. And so here we are working, planting in the snow. And this is E.J. Oppenheimer standing in his swale. A happy man. I don't have his face, but he's very happy with how much water is collected there. So, and then I was working out there last week, and this hawk flew right by me, and it was flying like 4 feet above the ground, just zooming through, and then it lands on our newly planted tree, and it's just sitting there like happy to have a tree to stand on. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So there you go. You can see that. Okay, the Notre Dame Urban Design Studio was a project that just completed last December. The graduate students came in to the square mile where we live and just looked at what would a dense urban environment look like on this very not dense property where a lot of the houses have actually been taken from people in the name of urban renewal, also known as urban removal. And how do we bring that back in a way that's equitable, that provides for a mix of incomes, that keeps a diverse culture? And so Notre Dame had quite a challenge to work on. And then what I was pushing for during this project was how do you bring in the food? How does the food actually supply these people that would be moving into this dense neighborhood? And so they were kind enough to put in their book a plan, a proposed green weave, including permaculture gardens, building on existing initiatives in Tulsa. And then they even put in this beautiful market building right here that would be a farmer's market. So who knows if this will ever happen. It was an educational kind of opportunity for them to come in and try to design it. But I'm excited about just getting these future city urban planners to think about the food behind, and we talked a lot about that missing food income that's just leaking out of our city every year, and how can we keep that in this community? And then real quick, just looking at how to connect this square mile with going north all the way to Skiatook through the Osage Prairie Trail. And so these are some projects we're thinking about. And then the Osage Prairie Trail, Up With Trees, received an awesome grant, and they are planting 800 trees all the way up the Osage Prairie Trail, which is a bike trail that used to be a railroad trail, a railroad tracks. And so they're doing that right now. You can come out this Saturday and volunteer, learn how to plant big trees. They're doing a large percentage of native trees. And yeah, we're excited about that. The idea is to have a green belt that brings nature in, and that benefits the food growing side. So if we can allow nature to have this green belt to come into the city, and then filter into our native gardens and native forests, it could be really cool. Trying to give that hawk a good runway through the city. And this is what you will look like while you're planting trees. You'll be pushing them in the hole and putting the dirt around them. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you. Oh, I can answer a couple questions. 2 questions, just 2. Yes.
So you mentioned working with Up With Trees and also
Yes.
Emerson and other places. How has it been working with the city of Tulsa? Has it been responsive? Have you run into blocks, challenges?
So the question is, have we've worked with a lot of different organizations. How has it been working with the city of Tulsa? And I work at the city of Tulsa, so that's probably helped a little bit. But the city of Tulsa, yeah, we're working on some initiatives. So the city of Tulsa has a culture of yes instead of a culture of no, and we're helping them through that. But no, we definitely had to work through Up With Trees in order to do the Tisdale Food Forest. They already have a license agreement with the city, so that's city-owned land. They have a license agreement to plant on city-owned land, and so that really helped us make that a quicker project. So, yes.
When it comes to planting in our front yards, how much can we do? Can we completely turn it into produce and trees without worrying about being cited by the city?
I would say, okay, so she's asking, can we plant in our front yards without worrying about being cited by the city? That is there's a complex answer to that question. Some of it depends on the neighborhood in which you live. It depends on whether, I forget what that's called, but whether they have a neighborhood association that has requirements. And then I think it depends on your neighbors is a big one. I know people who have front yard gardens. They are awesome. I think you have to be careful of how it looks, because you can totally do a front yard garden that just looks like a beautiful garden. Or you can tear everything up and it can look pretty bad. So it kind of, you have to work more on the beauty side, I think, when you're doing that, and know your neighbors. But it is such an incredible way to get to know your neighbors. Nobody comes out of their houses anymore. We live in a historic neighborhood with big front porches, and that helps. But yeah, I think when you're out in your front yard, I would love to see people put their gardens in their front yard first, because when you're out in your front yard, a neighbor's going to come by and talk to you, and then they might get interested. And but you just have to be careful, and you have to know your situation. The city, if it does have a complaint, I mean, there have been instances where they just completely take it out because someone complained. So they kind of work on a complaint basis. But anyway, I hope that answers it. Question.
Well, let's thank Nathan. Okay, I think, well, Nathan is just as rich with information as he is as a human being. I just honored to have him here with us today, and he brings out a great crowd of people dedicated to food security and urban farming issues. So let's thank him again. He deserves another applause. Thank you, Nathan. So we're almost at time. We're going to very quickly pass the mic around to the booth so that you can kind of see who's here and why they're here and why you want to come see them before you leave. And I'm going to start actually with Mike real quick so that you know we're going to continue this conversation with TCC's Sustainability Conference.
Hello, Mike Lemus on behalf of the planning team for the 4th Sustainability Conference at Tulsa Community College. I'm pleased to invite you and the community to participate on that day. It's a Thursday. We'll be in this building all day, 9 to 3:30. We may have a couple of events across the street. We're going to focus on food deserts, food sovereignty, with the working title, Meeting Student and Community Needs Through Sustainability. I've had the good fortune of recruiting 2 keynotes, Pam Kingfisher, who is a Cherokee woman working with indigenous populations across the country on food and nutrition issues. And then Charlie Williams, who's a principal in a corporation called Clean Air Action, which is an international company. And what they do is they plant trees in remote regions of the world, primarily Africa and India. Right now they're working in Kenya and Tanzania. They sequester carbon. They sell the carbon credits, and the profit goes to support subsistence farmers in those countries. So it's a great story, one that you need to hear on that day. The event, as I mentioned, is free and open to the public, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, thank you. And we're going to send out an invite, so if you're on our email list, you'll get that invite. Okay, Katie.
Hi, Katie Plohaki. I'm the Executive Director of the Healthy Community Store Initiative. We have several programs that run the gamut from the entire food system, from farming all the way to waste. Come see my booth. I also have some samples here of some dehydrated food. I also chair the Tulsa Food Security Council, so if you're interested in getting on our email list, please come and sign up.
Hello, I'm Mike Perkins. I'm the Director of Operations at Up With Trees. You sort of know what we do, but we plant trees, but we do a lot more. I'll push 2 things real quick. Our Citizen Forester class actually starts this Saturday, 9 to 1, and it lasts all 4 Saturdays. We've actually had 3 people sign up from coming in today, so that's awesome. You'll learn about where to properly plant a tree, proper pruning, how to properly, how to plant it, put it in the ground, care for it, and then promote Tulsa's urban forest. So if you'd like to do that, you can learn great things. I'm a lecturer, so come on out. I think you can sign up here. And also, like Nathan said, we are planting along the Osage Trail. This weekend, we're planting at 33rd Street North, just behind Hawthorne Elementary School. Greatly use your help. Next weekend, we're planting at Crawford Park. Once we do that, we'll have put over 400 trees in along the trail starting at OSU, all the way toward 36th Street North, with more trees to come. But volunteers are great, and if you want to make an impact for Tulsa, that's a great way to do it, by putting trees in the ground. 45 different species and cultivars along the trail, 42 trees on Saturday, and 15 different species. So it's a good way to learn about all the different types of trees out there. So I hope we'll see you all Saturday. And like I said, Citizen Forester thing, come up and talk to me about it if you're interested in that. Thank you.
Thanks. My name is Natalie Mallory, owner-operator of Full Sun Composting, and we are working to give restaurants and businesses an option to divert their food waste away from the landfill and use it to be composted instead. So I think we're going to give away this bag of compost. Good luck to you. I hope you win it.
Hi, I'm Russell Burkhardt. You've heard from Nathan, you've heard about James Spicer, and you've heard from Katie. There's a nonprofit we've created called Green Corps Network. It's the nonprofit parent, if you will, the Food Security Council, the Tulsa Community Garden Association. Nathan originally he spun off the Restoration Collective, and Katie's got her own HCSI. But we're interested, we kind of have three main legs we're promoting. It's advocacy, which is the food policy work that's just addressing food security and access and food deserts to affordable, healthy food. Through education and outreach and community building, as Nathan alluded to, building gardens and orchards and food forests is not just providing food, it's also linking people together and building trust and commonality. And then the third thing, James, we hope to have more time, but you can pick up our flyer. There were some on the table. We're trying to launch a food incubator concept, which is not necessarily everyone's going to become a farmer. We recognize that, but farmers are aging off, just like physicians are aging off. We need to get new blood in the pipeline. There are ag curriculum in the schools and in universities, but this could be small-scale ag, not necessarily urban, yes, but also rural, and not just farming as in the produce, but also value-added products, so anything from honey to salsas and different things. So I think it's an exciting way where we could do social enterprise projects and employ some of the hard-to-employ ex-offenders, people in rehab, could be farm laborers, if you will, or work in a farm food business. So come by. If you didn't find a flyer on your table, there's extra copies here. Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Chris. I'm with the Tulsa Farmers Market, and that includes the Cherry Street Farmers Market and the Brookside Farmers Market. This season, we are starting our 20th season, so we're really excited about that. We're the longest running market in the state of Oklahoma. So we're also the largest. We have about 75 different vendors, and so I really appreciate what Nathan had to say about keeping those food dollars close, that we do have a lot of that leakage, and this is one way that you can really be impactful in your community, as well as eat delicious local foods. If you come over to the booth here, we've got lots of different materials about our hours, recipes, and also our Double Up program talks a little bit about we accept SNAP and we double those dollars, and some of our other community outreach. We also, in the back of the Edible Tulsa, the most recent, talks about our next farm-to-table event we're doing at 413 Farm. This is Angie here. It's her place. And so we're really excited to serve some local foods at her place this March. So if more information on that is on our website, tulsafarmersmarket.org, or come on by and talk to me. Thanks for coming out.
Hello, I am Barry Jarvis with Edible Tulsa Magazine and agruity.com, which is a local marketplace for food. Let's just say you wanted to have chicken wings for the Super Bowl or a big pot of chili. What you can do is, in seconds, you can go online and order from a local farmer. And it's a good example of kind of a hole in our system where we really should be thinking local farm instead of grocery store, like Nathan talked about. I thought that was an excellent point. But with a little planning and an account, you could order your chicken wings in seconds and have them delivered right to your door. I think knowing your local farmer means knowing how close they might be to not being in business next season. And there's really some surprising stories when you go down that road with your local farmers. So they really need all the help we can get. So again, agruity.com. And also I'm cooking at that farm dinner, so we would really love to have you all out.
I'm Joan Krager, and I am a master gardener. I work at Crossroads Clubhouse, which is probably one of the best kept secrets in Tulsa. We work with folks that have been diagnosed adults with serious mental illness. We help with housing, socialization. We serve lunch every day, Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock. And I'm here because we are a wildlife habitat certified. We're a monarch way station. And my motto in the garden is, if you can't eat it and it isn't a pollinator-friendly plant, we don't plant it. So come visit us. We're at 15th and Yorktown, and right there in Midtown. You've probably driven by us 100 times and had no idea what we were doing. So we also help with housing, employment, and all of our It's a Membership Only kind of organizations. So come visit.
Hi, my name is Cassidy Wickersham, and I work at the Community Food Bank, and I coordinate a program called Cooking Matters, which is designed to teach low-income families how to cook healthy on a budget. So we come in, and I bring a volunteer dietitian and a volunteer chef. Half of the class is a nutrition lesson, and the other half is a hands-on cooking demonstration. And then after the class, each participant is sent home with a bag of groceries that include the exact ingredients from the demonstration. So it's a really amazing program, and if any of you guys have a site that would like to host a class, come over to my table and let me know.
Hello, I'm Kendall Woodburn with the OSU Extension. I'm a horticulture extension educator, and if anybody wants to start a community garden in your area, I can help with some technical advice. Sometimes I have extra seed. We've noticed a lot of the lots in the city are very low in nitrogen and different nutrients, low in organic matter. So I have some free seeds here if somebody wants some. I've got some arrowleaf clover and then some winter peas that you can put into your soil to encourage more growth and have more organic matter and nitrogen. And we have a lot of free pamphlets over at OSU Extension. If you're interested in any kind of crop, basically you can come in there. We're at 15th Street at Gate 6 at the fairgrounds. And I also have a sign-up sheet if you want to help with some of the community gardens that we're restarting again now that spring's coming. And there is an event at Challenger 7 Park, which I know James Spicer and Karen Nelson, they worked a lot on that. It's going to be this Saturday, I think, at 9 o'clock, and that's over on 41st Street in West Tulsa.
Thank you. So you can see there's so many wonderful people and activities going on in the Tulsa area around this issue and ways to get engaged. Thank you for hanging around for just a few extra minutes so we can hear from them. I'm going to do a drawing. We have 3 gifts, and then go visit and meet some new people. So we have Joseph Mason. Oh, he's leaving early. Are you still here? Okay. He left. Oh, okay. Let's see. Ashley Bath. What? Come on down. Ashley won a jar of honey from the Tisdale Highway. So thank you, Nathan, for the food force there. Thank you for, you're welcome. Congratulations. Wow, she was the one to win that. Okay, and then we have 2 shirts that were brought by Barry Jarvis for us. Christine Evans, are you still here? Are you still here? All right, we got a t-shirt for you. All right, we got from Agruity, or you can also, if you're a bicyclist, we also have this, so you get to pick which one. Okay. All right. Hopefully this person likes to bicycle. Troy. It's just Troy. Are you still here, Troy? No. Okay. Kevin Harper. Are you still here? All right, Kevin, come on down. And actually, I forgot, we have a bag of compost from Full Sun Composting, so you get to pick. Okay. All right, well, one last one. Angie Huggins, are you still here? All right, she gets compost today. Okay, thank you guys. Visit a little bit. We'll see you next month. Thank you. Do you compost?